June 22, 1986. Estadia as the moment Diego Maradona leaped, punched the ball into the English net, and ran away in celebration. He didn't just score a goal, he ignited a war. To the world, it was the hand of God. But to FIFA, it was a nightmare. Headlines screamed injustice. English tabloids declared it a disgrace. And in Zurich, the phone lines buzzed. Sponsors, broadcasters, politicians, all wanted answers. And FIFA, they wanted silence. This was Argentina versus empire, a ball versus a flag. That same night, Maradona was escorted through the service tunnels of the stadium. Not for a press conference, but for a private meeting. A FIFA official, Swiss accented and stiff, offered polite congratulations. Then he leaned in. "You're a hero now, Diego. Let's not make this political. No handlers, no script, just Diego, a recorder, and a promise that his words would be heard uncut." Maradona didn't respond. He didn't need to. The glare said enough. This wasn't just a football match to him. It was history correcting itself. Later that night, in a quiet hotel room, far from the cameras, a freelance journalist from South America managed to arrange what no network could. A private interview. He lit a cigarette and began. "They call it cheating, I call it memory. Ask any Argentine. We remember 1982. We remember the ships, the bombs. Today wasn't just football. Customs officials seized it under the guise of security review. The journalist's credentials were revoked. The footage was lost, and paint Maradona not just as a rebel, but as the last man who refused to play by their rules. The interview never aired. FIFA intervened before the tape even reached the border, or so they thought, because a copy had been made, and decades later, someone leaked it. What followed would shake the foundations of football, challenge the purity of the sport. For years, the recording was dismissed as myth. A whisper passed between old journalists, former players, and conspiracy theorists. Maradona's banned interview, they called it. Some swore they'd seen a transcript. It arrived in a plain envelope at the door of an underground sports radio station. No return address, no explanation, just a handwritten note. He spoke the truth, but they act like England always played clean. Like politics and war don't touch football. It's a lie. The pitch isn't neutral. Never has been. I told the truth once. They didn't like it. Doesn't change the truth. Others claimed it was just a tall tale, crafted by die-hard fans, unwilling to see their idol as a cheat. FIFA never officially addressed the content. Broadcasters avoided replaying the footage, and those who did mysteriously lost access to international match rights the following year. There was Diego, younger and angrier, staring straight into the lens. No crowd, no noise, just silence, cigarette smoke, and his voice. But when a major European outlet tried to air it, FIFA responded with a cease and desist. Legal threats followed. Their reasoning: the content undermines the integrity of the game. But in 1998, 12 years after the infamous goal, a dusty VHS surfaced in Buenos Aires. The station's editor watched the footage 3 times before believing it was real. In Argentina, he became a symbol of defiance, a man who de-scored with a fist and spoken with fire. But in Europe, and especially in England, he was painted as a villain doubling down. "I knew what I did. I don't deny it." Word spread quickly. By morning, the clip had been duplicated, mailed, passed hand to hand across Argentina, and Maradona had refused to let them write his for him. Maradona didn't deny the tape's authenticity. In fact, during a rare live appearance shortly after, he smirked and said, "From that moment, public opinion split even further." And yet, despite the media frenzy, the footballing world's institutions stayed quiet. Something bigger was at play, because this wasn't just about a goal anymore. It was about who controls the narrative. By the early 2000s, the game had changed. Corporate sponsors owned the airtime. Federations dictated press access. Players became brands, their image tailored by agents and marketers. But the shadow of Maradona's unsanctioned interview still lingered passed around as digital bootlegs, whispered about in late-night football forums, dissected in university lectures on sports ethics. In a 2004 documentary, he referenced the hand of God again, this time more cryptically. FIFA quietly blacklisted the original station that leaked the tape. Its editors found their press credentials denied, interviews cancelled. Suddenly, their calls weren't returned. When one of them tried to confront a senior FIFA official at a public event in Geneva, They were escorted out before the cameras started rolling. Internal memos warned of a growing mythologization of Maradona among youth academies. One directive even encouraged coaches to reframe the hand of God moment as a lapse in sportsmanship, not a symbol of resistance. But Maradona, despite the banishment, the exile, the whisper campaigns, never apologized. Not in private, not in public. Sometimes you have to remind the world that justice doesn't always come in a suit. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, younger players began quoting him, not just the legend, the man, the rebel. South American stars spoke of him like a prophet, one who had faced the machine and lived to tell about it. He wasn't just a footballer, he was a blueprint for defiance. FIFA grew uneasy, translated into 8 languages, debated on panels, referenced by politicians in Latin America. The legend had officially escaped its cage, but that only made it stronger. In 2006, a university student uploaded a subtitled version of the interview to an obscure website. Within days, it had 1 million views, and yet Maradona never once promoted it. He didn't need to, because when a truth refuses to die, it becomes something else. It becomes a weapon. In 2008, whispers of a reunion match between Argentina and England began to swirl. A charity fixture, staged in neutral territory. Geneva, perhaps, or Doha. The idea was framed as healing. 2 nations once divided by war and controversy, coming together through sport. But everyone knew what it really was. A chance to put Maradona and England in the same stadium. Again, FIFA approved the concept in principle. Broadcasters lined up. Sponsors drooled at the idea. But behind closed doors, conditions were being written, terms that read less like match rules and more like silencing strategies. Clause 14. All participants will refrain from referencing politically or historically sensitive moments during pre- and post-match interviews. Clause 21. No mention of past officiating decisions shall be made in any official capacity. Clause 33. Diego Maradona's interview of 1986 shall not be acknowledged. They want the myth without the man. He reportedly told a friend, "They want to sell my story, but not my truth." Maradona laughed when he saw the paperwork. He declined the invitation publicly, citing prior commitments. But those close to him knew the real reason. He refused to be part of a spectacle designed to rewrite history. The match went on without him. It was a dull affair. No fire, no spark. A handshake photo op, nothing more. Ratings were half what they expected. Headlines were lukewarm. And in the post-match analysis, one phrase dominated fan comments. It needed Diego, but Diego was done playing their game. That same year, during a rare television appearance in Buenos Aires, he looked straight at the camera and said, "You can play football without the ball, but you can't play it without memory." It was a statement aimed not at England, but at the system, the federations, the boards, the men in suits who tried to turn legends into logos. Because Maradona wasn't interested in being a brand, he was a message, and messages don't fade when ignored, they grow louder in silence. When Diego Maradona died in 2020, the world stopped. Streets in Buenos Aires flooded with mourners. Neapolitan fans painted murals overnight. Stadiums across the globe held moments of silence, some sincere, some performative. But in the halls of FIFA, there was confusion. How do you honor a man who never played by your rules? A quiet internal memo advised against referencing controversial moments. Teenagers who weren't even born when he played now quoted him like gospel. The official statement was sanitized. A legend of the game, remembered for his passion. No mention of the interview. No mention of 1986. No mention of defiance. But outside those walls, the truth couldn't be buried. Clips of the lost interview circulated again, this time with updated captions, remastered audio, dubbed into new languages. He showed how football's purity was often theater, scripted, polished, sold to the highest bidder, but they couldn't erase what it represented. A moment where a player didn't just score a goal, he delivered a message. He wasn't perfect, he was raw, but that rawness was honest. And for millions, that was worth more than a golden boot. The pitch isn't neutral. Justice doesn't always come in a suit. You can't play without memory, not because of the tape. And in that chaotic, uncontainable tribute, something became clear. Maradona hadn't just broken the rules, he exposed them. FIFA could ignore the interview. They could erase it from their archives. And now, decades later, The echoes of that message still rattle through locker rooms, classrooms, back alleys, and playgrounds because of the truth.